अच्छा, very good. And yes, we are live. I mean, we are live. How many people is excited to be here? If you are excited to be here, can you signify? Say hi. Good evening, everyone. All right. Um, for those watching me for the first time, my name is Feishayo Oluwafemi. And today we are doing something that is very important, and we're talking about parenting. And what are we talking about today? Just confirm if you can hear me and you can see me, then I'll move right away. Can you see me? Confirm you can hear me and you can see me. Yes, I'm waiting. So I'm not talking to myself. Can you hear me? Confirm you can hear me. Confirm you can hear me. Confirm you can hear me. Okay, I'll start right away. And it's interesting to note that whatever a child turns out to be is dependent on some key factors. And one of such factors include who raised that child. That's number one. Number two, the person that raised the child, what knowledge do they have? And number three, the environment that the child was raised. So every child is a product of a particular home. And this is why parenting is important for every one of us, regardless of how old you are. It is highly important that we take conscious effort into the area of parenting. Parenting is one thing that parents have tried, whether good or bad, either ways, whether it is okay or super okay, whatever it is that you call it. Oh, by the way, I mean, one of our shops, one of the subsidiary of the academy carries books and more, and it is an arm of Married Grace Academy, as much as Caris Parenting Academy is also an arm. So one of the things we have decided to do is to look into every area where need is is conspicuous and also speak to such need. And then the t-shirt I'm wearing is CPA, Caris Parenting Academy, with the logo of the academy on it. All right, so Feisha Oluwafemi is my name once again. I will kick in right. I'll just start up immediately. So if you are on, you just want to communicate with me, so I'm sure that I'm not the only one speaking. I intended to share my slide before now, but I'm not sure if it's working. Let me see if it's going to work. And if it's not working, we'll just I just talk to what we have today. So today we are talking about a very important subject matter at that, and it is managing your emotions for effective parenting. Emotion is that part of us that we cannot do away with. At this time we are happy, at the other time we are not, for whatever reason or the other. But it is important that we know how to manage our emotions. Not learning to manage our emotions has a way of also impacting negatively on our parenting journey. The child is not going to turn out well as he is supposed to be. All right. So this is why it is very important that we learn how to manage our emotion. Now, the very first thing you want to know, first of all, is that parenting is first of all about you. It is not first of all about your child, but it is first of all about you. Now, as that is being said, how do you then think we can well manage our emotion? It is, and this is why we're talking about the subject matter today. Now, confirm you can see my screen. Can you see my screen now? Okay. So, wait a minute, hold on. And let me reshare so you confirm you can see my screen. All right. So, just like we said earlier on, parenting is that part of us that makes you want a child to turn out to be president, to be the lawyer, to be whoever. Whether the child's emotion is battered or not, it is subject to how that child have been parented. All right. So parenting is that part of us that enables us to then become who we are eventually. All right. So the truth is, the child does not have anything to play in this. It is the parent that has a whole lot to do. The question now is, you as a parent or you are an intended parent, whoever you are you willing to work on your emotion? We have turned out as we are, yes, good or bad alike. You see, but the truth is we must be ready to then work on ourselves. And one aspect of our lives we want to work on is our emotion. One part of our lives that you and I need to work on is our emotion. Because see, how a child turns out is determined by how intentional you are as the parent to help the child become better. It is a privilege for us to It's a privilege for us as parents to co-create with God. The truth is, none of us, none of us can say that we are infallible. All right. So as much as we cannot say that we are infallible, this is why we should give room for um improvement. There should be room for continuous improvement in our parenting journey. And if we believe that we are infallible, then one of the things we want to do is to take our time to work on ourselves. Meaning that we have our area of strength and our area of weaknesses. So the areas of weaknesses we have, we should not shy away from it. What should we do? Let's be intentional about it and work on it and get better. All right. So this is why we have seen that emotion is one of the areas that needs attention. Many a time we do not do much to that aspect of us, and it affects greatly who we eventually become. The way we have turned out now determines is determined by how our parents have made us. All right. So this is why you want to assess the journey that have brought you to this particular location, this junction that you have found yourself. You want to assess if you eventually turned out better or not. And if there are issues, you have been able to identify what happened to you in your parenting journey, then you want to take out time to work on yourself. All right. Now, the truth is, emotions are valid. It is not a crime for you to think, oh, I do not turn out better, and then you feel, oh, I can't do anything to it. It is a crime rather for you to think that you cannot do anything to who you have become. But it is good that you make up your mind to work on who you are, especially those aspects of your life that you know that is not good enough. Now, one of the things you want to do better is to work on your emotion. Any child you have, no matter how gentle they may be, they are going to really stress and stretch you so much so that you would imagine that you don't even have this child that you have long prayed for. And this is so because we have not eventually planned so well, especially in the area of our emotions. Now, the word of emotion is such that when you talk of emotion, you're talking of our conscious mental reactions to things or to people or to a condition. So at this time you are hungry, at the other time you are joyous, at the other time you feel frustrated, or you are fearful. All of these things is dependent on how you have been able to regulate yourself or your emotion. But not learning how to regulate your emotion would make you to make a mess of the whole time. So parenting, first of all, is about and not just the child. Now, as parenting is about you and not your child, so what should you do? You then need to now work on yourself and get better. And this is what we're talking about today. Okay? So, can you still hear me? Confirm you can hear me. Please confirm you can hear me. Confirm you can hear me. So, emotion is that state of feeling that we have. It could be a negative feeling, it could be a positive one. Whatever it is a feeling that is valid. And one of the things you want to do to it is to acknowledge it. Not acknowledging, or not acknowledging it and making you to deny that it doesn't exist is another error. Now you need to understand the link between your emotions and parenting. Because your emotion in parenting is everything. If you fail to work on your emotion, it's going to destroy the child. It's going to destroy who the child turns out eventually to be. The truth is, our parents tried and they did the best they think they could do. Because if they knew better, then they will act better. But because they don't even know better, they can't do much more than what they know. So what should we do? Who we have turned out to is is the product that has come out of the parenting journey of our parents. So we are the products. Now assess yourself to say, okay, who am I? Have I done well? Did I not do well? What is it that is lacking in my journey? And then you want to work on that journey. Intentionality. So your emotional parenting is everything. I mean everything because they are valid. But one of the things you must know that is that they also have the power to mar your child or to make your child, depending on how well you are able to manage it. So the truth is, everyone cannot do more than what they know. This is why we must do well in the area of knowledge. You know, the Holy Scripture says, "My people perish for lack of knowledge." They did not perish because they don't have money. They didn't perish because they don't have material things or some other things. But they actually perished because they lack knowledge. Now you want to look at yourself and say, which area am I lacking? In especially in the area of marriage. And if you are single, one of the things you want to work on yourself, work on is to work on your emotion, is to self-develop yourself. It's, as much as you are preparing for marriage, it's to also work on that phase where you become a parent because you sign to become a parent the day you say, yes, I do. Yes. Not until you have a child before you become a parent. As long as you say, yes, I do, and it is valid, it's legal, then could be a parent in the next 9 months. So do not wait until you now have a child before you think you're a parent. The best to do is to plan ahead before you become before you have a child. Because by the time you have a child, you would have made a mess of the child because you don't know what and what to do as it relates to you parenting job. One of the good things I saw myself did as a single lady was to plan ahead in the area of marriage, to read about marriage, to read about relationship, to read about parenting in a bit. I didn't do much of reading about it as a single person. So, but now that I'm married, I'm doing a whole lot of research in that space. I've done courses, studying courses, doing a particular course currently. So, what are we trying to say? It is highly important that you take out time to parent your child. Now, you might say, I'm still single, I do not have a child, or I'm an expectant mom, or we've been married for years and we do not have a child yet. Do not wait until you have a child before you start learning. I started learning intentionally when my first child was around the age of 3.5, 4 years. Because there was a day I noticed the dad was trying to scold her, and then she As little as she was almost trying to beat the dad back. And it was a lot of struggle. I felt like, oh, a girl child at this age, what if this child grows up and becomes older than this? What would this child become? What will become of this child? Will this child become more stronger than us? Will this child just beat us one day? And then I started learning, I started reading, I started taking courses. I started doing a lot of paid and free courses, going to mentorship and all for parenting. And I've seen how it has turned out. I am also still parenting my children. Okay, so one of the things you want to learn is to learn to have an open heart to learn, have an open heart to relearn things you know that are valid. Have an open heart to also unlearn things that they are archaic, they don't even suit the current situations we have found ourselves. And stay away from the zone of ignorance because God's people perish because they lack knowledge. So you do not want to perish because of your lack of knowledge. What do you want to do? You want to take out time to seek for knowledge. You want to take out time to, and as you're seeking for knowledge, you are converting it to what? To wisdom because it is the thing you know that you act out that benefits you, not what you do not know. So it is what you know that benefits you, not what you do not know. So what are we trying to say? It is very important that you take out time to be very intentional to learn, and as you learn, you practice and act them out. This is part of the learning process that we're talking about today. Now, if you must manage your child, if you must manage your own emotions very well, and as it relates to your parenting journey, one of the things you need to know is to identify who your child is. You want to identify who your child is. You want to know who this child is as it relates to the discipline structures that you will be putting in place for your child's development. Because a child you do not know, you cannot carve out a system for the child. This is why it is very important for you to take time to know the child. And in knowing the child, I'm talking about personality. Who is this child? Is this child an introvert? Is this child an extrovert? Or is in the middle? It's an extro introvert or is an intro extrovert? You need to know the personality that this child has. When you understand this, it helps you to be able to know the kind of measures to put in place. And it also helps you to be able to better manage your emotion. My first child is strong willed. You tell her to do this, she's not going to do it. And the traditional parents will feel what insults, what effrontery. In this house, no. And then they start struggling. I can't tell you to do this and you not do this. I can't tell you to do that and you not do that. You know? So, but this is where we need knowledge. This is where we need knowledge. Because without knowledge, God's people will perish. So if you do not want to perish, one of the things you need to do, just like I've said and I'm still saying, is to seek for knowledge. All right. Now, another thing you should take time out to know about your child is the temperament of your child. Is your child sanguine? Is your child choleric? Is your child phlegmatic? Is your child melancholy? Okay, all of these things you will not know except you read. Okay, you need to know why your child acts the way they do. Okay, if you do not know how they are wired, which makes them to act a certain way, you will struggle. You are really going to struggle. So my understanding of strong weak children to say, okay, some weak children sometimes do not like to take instructions straight up. They like to do it in their own way. Will make me to, okay, just soft pedal my own instructions and also see things in the light of the child's upbringing or makeup. All right. So if I do not have that understanding, there's tendency for me to begin to engage in power tussle with the child. Say, aren't you hearing me? Is it not you I'm talking to? I'm your mother and I'm speaking to you and you're not hearing. You're not even giving attention. Or at the end of the day, one of the things that's going to happen is that you begin to exchange words or become physical. Okay, and you don't want to be here at all because the child eventually will become so battered emotionally, will not want to face crowd, will lose self-confidence. And this is why understanding your child is very important. So one of the things you want to learn about your child is, how does my child learn? Is my child a visual learner or a kinesthetic learner? Is my child a child that learns by hearing, who is an audio learner? Or is my child that type of child that likes to write, to retain what he or she has? If you have not taken time out to study this, you might give an instruction. For instance, my strong daughter would not receive instruction by just hearing. If you give her instruction verbally, before she gets to the other piece, she has forgotten. So one of the things that helps me or that is still helping me is to understand that, oh, this is who she is. Even though sometimes I just start to say, open your ears and hear me whenever I'm talking so that you do not forget. Now, because of how she is wired, she will not be able to pick instructions verbally because she doesn't learn by hearing. She learns, but she learns by doing what? By seeing. She's a visual learner. And this is why she also learns by writing things. So having this understanding will make me to be able to sort better my emotions, no matter how my emotions are rushing through my blood. When the child begins to act the way she is wired. So when you have this understanding about your and the truth is all children are not the same. Even the so-called introverted children are still very different. This is why it's important to take time to study. If you have 6 children, you want to take time to study each of them one by one. Not taking out time to learn who these children are is going to be horrible. You don't want to be there. And your emotions will keep rolling, keep rolling, keep rolling. Your emotions will keep rolling, your emotions will keep rolling. And then you begin to vent your anger on your child. And once this happens, the child then feels my mom, my dad do not like me. See? Now, you also want to take out time to understand the love language of your child. Love Language by Gary Chapman. He says there are five languages, and that the first is gifts. Some children love gifts. Everybody do, but some do not feel loved. They've not been given gifts to. So you want to understand who your child is in this space to say, does my child really loves gifts in all of these more than every other um five five more than any of the love languages. Some are bilingual. They speak two of the languages. Some speak more than two, which is more pronounced. So the one that is more pronounced in all of these five love languages is the one that you should always speak specifically to your child. All right? Okay. So you want to also take time to study. Does my child love touch? One of my children loves to lean on you, loves to just cuddle you, just want to be around you and cuddle you. That's for her. She is prominent on touch. And some of these children also love affirmation. Affirmation is one thing that we do all the time for children, even for yourself, you end up giving yourself affirmation. When you give yourself affirmation, it helps you to get better. It helps you to believe in yourself. It improves your self-confidence. And then one of the things that happens to you is that if you were down before, it just pumps up strength inside of you, and then you begin to do valiantly. And then it looks like your strength has come back to you. Okay, so the same thing it is for the children. If you speak their love language, maybe their own love language is um um affirmations, like I've just said, and you keep you do good. I love the way you took the from that location to dining table. You actually held it perfectly. That description is fine and it's good for the child to have self-confidence and want to do better. But one of the things that will happen too You, when you say, I like it, you are the best results. I like the fact that you talk to the class. I like the fact that you outrun the other person. So the child will become competitive. And the child will always want to hear that good compliment all the time. At the time that the child does something bad, the child will just repel it because you have wired the child to always receive positive, positive, positive things. But if on the other end too, all the things you always receive from the child is negative words. Ah, you are so full of yourself. You are a fool. You don't even hear when somebody is talking to you. You are this, you are that. That's a label that makes the child feel my parents have called me this, and I think that's who I am. So they cannot give in their best to any other thing they just try to do. Okay. So this is why you must not go to the other extreme of the negative. You should not also go to the other extreme of the positive. Stay in the middle. And the reason to stay in the middle is to describe how it is that you have appreciated what they did. The description is what matters, not the end of the matter, not the result. Because when this happens, one of the things that happens, like I've said, is that the child will always want to be the best. And see, failure is not a problem. We learn in failing, and we build muscle when we learn from our failures. To fail is one of the things that will help your child to turn out well. You should not save your child from not failing. Any attempt to make your child feel like, who made you do this? Me, I don't want the bad things to happen to my child. I'll save my child from having this experience, having that experience. You will wire the child to always want experiences in life. And life is not full of bed of roses. There are bad times, there are good times. So begin to wire the child to let the child begin to learn how to learn from their errors and turn the failure to a learning moment. A moment where the child can say that, yes, I failed, but can I analyze what happened to me? Why did I fail? And this and that. You can, when you get into the room, first of all, and you meet your 4-year-old, put water on the tiles. Everywhere flooded with water. What do you think will happen to you, first of all? You are coming from home, tired, exhausted, right? And you met your child with cup of water, taking water from one bowl that is full of water into another bowl that is empty, and the whole living room is flooded with water. Tell me, what will happen to you? What would you even do to that child? You want to engage this? Please say something. Yes. What will you do to your child? Tell me, I want to hear. What will you do to your child? You're actually going to start beating the child, calling the child names, and doing all sort of, what's wrong with you? Why would you pour the water on the floor? Can't you see? Can't you that? And all. And after doing that, the child feel like, what's wrong? What did I do? What's wrong? What did I do that is wrong in all of this? You see it? All right. So, but when you understand that this child is just trying to be who she is or he is, because a child will always be a child, and an adult will always be an adult. And you should always be an adult, but most times as adults, we even act as children, including me. So intentionality is one of the things that makes me to say, I've done it wrong this time around. Let me correct it. I say, okay, I'm sorry. Do this, do that. Now, it is not parenting is not about the perfection. It is about the process, the journey. So even with your learnings, there are times that you will go off the course, and it seems like you have missed it at this time. Don't be too hard on yourself. What should you do? Take learning from whatever it is that is happening or that has happened. And what should you do? Take time to convert that failure to success, to another structure that will help you. Okay. So one of the things again, excuse me, One of the things you want to do is to check if the child's love language is act of service. Some children just love you to do things for them. We do things for our children all the time. As parents, maybe you wash their dishes, you help them with their laundry, you make them comfortable, you provide for them. This is our own services that we do sacrificially. Sometimes they have some needs that you have to push your own need behind and just service the need of your child. Okay. Sometimes they just want you to be around them. So for such kind of children, it means that their own love language is quality time. They just want mom to be around. They just want daddy to be around so they can play together. They can do things together. A child will not say, I had a bad day. Even in a tiring day, they have just returned from school and they had a day that is full of stress and all. A child will not say, I had a bad day. What a child will say is, even with all of that, will you play with me? Because a child, they are never tired of playing. So as adults, sometimes we feel tired. We feel like, oh, I had a tiring day. It wasn't easy at work. Just dash somewhere into the house and just sleep. But no, as you come, your child will say, Mommy, Mommy, Daddy, Daddy, welcome. Come and play my ball with me. Come and play my Ludo with me. Come and play this. And you're like, are you kidding me? Play this with you. I'm tired. But when you are intentional, you are learning that intentionality is one of the things that will help you. You would know that, oh, at this time, this is what my child needs. My child wants to feel loved and is calling for my attention. And so when this happens, what do? You based on that intentionality, you just play with the child. It doesn't have to be too long. 10 minutes, 15 minutes is fine. You have filled the love bank of that child. So you need to take time to study who your child is, the love language your child speaks, because without understanding this about your child, you're going to struggle and your emotions will just keep flowing and all of that will start happening and start happening. And before you know it, a lot of things go off the course. So that this will not be your experience, one of the things you want to do is to take our time to understudy who your child is. Your child should not be feeling that my parents don't want to see me or they don't want me around them or they don't just like me to play. Your child should know, even when you're depriving them from playing, they should know the reason why you do not want them to play. So what should you do? Take out time to explain the why to them. When they understand the why, it helps. Then they can reason with you. So one of the things again you want to do is to understand your own parenting style. Excuse me. What kind of parenting style are you engaging? And there are four major types of parenting style. The first is authoritarian, permissive parenting, authoritative parenting, and uninvolved or negative parenting. So there are some parents that don't just get involved in the children's life. Maybe when they were about to be giving birth to, you won't see them come, especially the father. You won't see them try to even show care or show that they are bringing a destiny to the world. They are not involved at that time. When the child is to be born, they are not also involved in that child. When in the process of that child's being born. When the child also is born, you don't see them get involved. Excuse me. You don't see them get involved in the upbringing of the child. They just saddle everything to the mother and believing that the mother should carry everything and do everything. Since it's two people that brought the child to the world, then the two people must keep at it to see to it that the child turns out well, that the child turns out better. and that the child begin to know that we are two in your life. You see it now. So what you must do is to participate in the growth process of the child. Some fathers do not even take time out to even know what immunization is given to the child at what time. Maybe it doesn't concern, is the mother's palaver, right? How about if the mother is even tired? Excuse me, or the child is